students. Today we will start with atomic structure. It is second chapter of class 11. Very important from competitive exam point of view also. You may find 2 to 3 questions from this chapter every year. In the beginning, we will be talking about some subatomic particles, their history, their discoveries, and later on we will come to the exact chapter. Okay. As you all know, the term atom was given by Dalton. It was introduced by Dalton in around 1800s or so, 1808. So Dalton said that that matter is made up of small indivisible particle that is called as atom. He said matter is made up of the smallest indivisible particle called atom. And that was accepted for years together. Nearly 70-80 years this was accepted. And he also stated that different atoms of same element are same. He even said that different atoms of different element are different. Okay, these were his statement, that different atoms of the same element are same. Though this was proved to be wrong, because now you have the discovery of isotope, where you have the same atom, the atoms of the same element having different isotopes, like you have hydrogen itself, protium, deuterium, tritium. Different atoms of different element are different according to Dalton. But even this was proved to be wrong, because later on there is a discovery of isobar. You are having the atoms of the different element which are having the same atomic masses. Okay, so this was done in the beginning when matter was defined, a small particle was defined, but later on there were a number of subatomic particles of the atom were discovered. So that discoveries we have to study, but before that please note down this. So the first subatomic particle which was discovered was electron. Okay, it was discovered by J.J. Thomson. It was discovered by J.J. Thomson. That means major contribution was his. There were many other scientists involved in it. Okay, and this was discovered in cathode ray experiment. This was the name of the experiment in which it was discovered. So what he did basically was, there was a discharge tube taken. Discharge tube was made up of glass. Okay, this was taken, and then there was cathode on one side, anode in the other side, and these two electrodes were connected. They were subjected to high voltage, high potential. Nearly 10,000 volt potential was applied. Okay, in this there was gas taken. There was some gas taken. The gas was different every time the experiment was performed. So he basically started with hydrogen gas. So suppose the gas is taken here, and there is a stopcock which can be connected to vacuum pump. But initially he started with the atmospheric. So 3 different experiments he has performed. One, he performed at atmospheric pressure. At atmospheric pressure, that is 1 atmosphere, he observed that nothing is happening. No electric current passes through it, because gas is not a good conductor of electricity. So nothing happened at atmospheric pressure. But there was an option of vacuum pump. So he lowered the pressure then. Lowered the pressure to around 10 to the power minus 2 atmosphere. At this pressure, he found that there was some colored glow passing from cathode to the anode side. Okay, there was a colored glow, and by changing the gas, the color of the globe was different. Okay, by changing the gas, the color of the globe was different. So we can say here some globe was seen moving from cathode towards anode side. Then by performing the experiment at this pressure, since he got some conclusion, he lowered the pressure further to around 10 to the power minus 4 atmosphere. On further lowering the pressure, it was found that number of invisible rays, these are some, they were not visible, invisible rays were seen passing from cathode to anode side. But how will they be seen when they are invisible? So to make them visible, what he did was, he had taken a perforated anode. Perforated anode, because these rays which are moving should be able to pass through the pores of the anode. And behind the anode there was a phosphorescent material that he has taken as zinc sulfide. He painted that backside of the anode with zinc sulfide. So when these rays which were moving from the cathode, they passed through the pores of anode, this started glowing. There was a greenish glow. There was greenish glow observed behind the anode. So since they were starting from cathode, these rays were called as cathode rays. They were beginning from cathode, moving towards the anode, so they were termed as cathode rays. Okay, this was one thing. But now it was seen that if you change the gas or you change the electrode, nothing happened to the cathode rays. So actually, what is the origin he found? The origin, he found that the origin of these cathode rays was basically electrode. So electrode was negative, cathode is negative. From the cathode, the electrons are emitted. Electrons are emitted and they are being attracted by anode, which is a positive electrode. So the electrons are moving from the cathode to the anode. So what is the origin, if you have to say? We will say the origin is the electrode. By changing the gas, by changing the electrode, the nature of these cathode rays did not change, because every electrode will give out electrons only. Okay, will give out electrons. Now why electrons we are saying? Because they are beginning from cathode, moving towards anode. Anode is positive. Something moving towards the positive electrode means these should be made up of the negative charge. Okay, the origin, you know, they are originating from the cathode, moving towards the anode side. The cathode rays behavior did not change by changing the gas and the electrodes. Further, you know, there were some properties he studied. Number of properties of the cathode rays were studied. We will see what are the properties. Number one, they were found to be moving in a straight line. How did he came to this conclusion? In the path of these cathode rays, he placed some opaque object. When he placed the opaque object, he could see the shadow of it. So when shadow they are able to cast, that means the cathode rays are moving in a straight line. So these 1 mark questions can be framed. How will you prove that the cathode rays move in a straight line? How do you prove that they are made up of material particles? We will be discussing in the properties further. The first thing is clear. Next, they are made up of material particles. They are made up of material particles. Now, this was proved by taking here, you know, a wheel was taken. Inside this, a light wheel was taken, and that wheel started rotating, that started moving. So obviously they are made up of some material particles. When they are moving means they possess kinetic energy, which is making that light paddle or light wheel move. Okay. Next property. The cathode rays were seen to cause heating effect. If any object is placed, the metal object is placed in the path, it gets heated up. It gets heated up. So they can cause heating effect. Now how did they prove they are negatively charged? When electric field, Now around this cathode ray, suppose there are two electrodes put up here. Electrodes are put up here, cathode and anode. They were seen moving towards positive plate. Cathode rays were seen moving towards positive plate. So we can say they are affected, or we can say they are deviated. Deviated towards what? They are deviated towards positive plate. Positive plate when placed in the electric field. So they are getting affected by the electric field, we can say. Fifth, they are also getting affected by the magnetic field. They are affected by the magnetic field. Then sixth, we can have they produce X-rays. They produce X-rays. Now how? When they are moving in one direction, if any metal is placed, then they can produce the X-rays. X-rays, when these cathode rays are striking that metal, X-rays will be produced. Okay, then we can have they cause ionization of the gas. Any gas is taken in this, they cause ionization of the gas. If any gas was taken inside, it was seen that the gas is getting ionized. Achha, very very important thing children here. This I'll rub it off. There was one thing which he could calculate was E by M ratio. E by M ratio. E by M ratio for the cathode rays was found to be 1.76 into 10 to the power 8 coulomb per gram. Now what is this E by M? E is charge, M is mass. This charge by mass ratio is also called as specific charge. It is called specific charge, E by M. So he calculated the specific charge of cathode rays separately. Millikan oil drop experiment helped in calculating the charge of the electron as 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. Many times children you will also find the charge given as 1.602, but just to make it easy for the calculations, we are using this as 1.6 in 10 to the power minus 19. So this was known, specific charge was known, so he could also calculate the mass of electron, that is found to be 9.1 into 10 to the power 28 grams. Now one very very important thing, the specific charge for the cathode rays was found to be same irrespective of the gas. You change the gas, the specific charge was found to be same. Is it clear here? Please make note of this. This is very very important. Sometimes they even ask arrange following species in the increasing order of the specific charge. Electron, proton, neutron, alpha rays. It's a very important question asked in MCQs. Okay, so now we will proceed with the discovery of proton. Another fundamental particle, another subatomic particle. This was called as anode ray experiment. Now actually same setup. This was the discharge tube, cathode, this was the anode. High voltage is applied, vacuum to lower the pressure. Gas was taken initially. In the beginning, the focus was only on the invisible particles which are moving from the cathode to the anode, because anode was perforated, backside the color was visible. Now, later on, actually this experiment was performed by Goldstein. So what he observed, that when the cathode and anode are subjected to high potential, low pressure, the cathode rays are moving. They are moving even now. Cathode rays are moving even now. They did not disappear. So invisible particles, that is the cathode ray, which were moving from cathode to anode, they were hitting these gas particles. These are the gas particles. When they were hitting it, they could ionize this gas. So from here, when it was hitting, electron was given out. When they were hitting this, electrons were given out. So more electrons were given out by the gas particles. In a way, can we say that gas particles are undergoing ionization? So what was found? these electrons also will start moving along with the cathode rays towards the anode. But there will be number of positively charged gas ions formed in the discharge tube. What will happen to those gas ions? Since they are positive, they will start moving towards the cathode. Now, when they are moving towards the anode, in order to make them visible, this cathode was now perforated. In this experiment, cathode is perforated. In the previous cathode ray experiment, anode was perforated. Here, cathode is perforated. And behind that, again, zinc sulfide screen so that they become visible. So, when these positively charged gas ions are moving from these pores, they are visible behind that cathode. Now, since they are moving from the anode, they are called as anode rays. These are called as canal rays. Can we call them as proton rays? No. We cannot call them as proton rays because what is basically proton? Proton is having only one plus charge. We can call them as proton rays only if you take hydrogen gas. Because hydrogen has one electron, one proton. When one electron is removed, it will form H+. Now you can compare this to proton. So only in the case of hydrogen gas, you can call these rays as proton rays. Else we call them as canal rays or anode rays. Is it clear? Now, properties of the anode rays were somewhat similar, but some properties were not there. Like X-ray, they were producing, the cathode ray was producing X-ray, they were causing ionization, they were causing penetration effect, heating effect. Those are not visible. Basic 3-4 are there even for anode rays. They travel in a straight line. They are made up of the material particles, they are the gas ions obviously. They are positively charged. How could this be concluded? When electric field is, when they are subjected to the electric field, which plate will they start moving? They will start moving towards the anode rays. They are moving towards the negative. So they will move towards the negative. Toward the negative plate they will start moving. They are also getting deflected by the magnetic field. Electric magnetic is same plus these three, but the other properties are not there for anode rays. Specific charge, E by M ratio. E by M ratio for the anode rays was found to change with the nature of gas. Sometimes theoretical questions are also asked from this chapter. So you can have some theoretical questions from the initial part of atomic structure in competitive exams. So E by M ratio for the anode ray was found to be this 9.58 in 10 to the power 4 coulomb per gram. Okay, from this again the mass of proton was calculated. See, electron we know, that charge of electron we know. So E by M, if we know the specific charge, that is E by M. What is specific charge? It is E by M. On substituting this value we can get the mass. We got the mass of the proton as this 1.67 into 10 to the power minus 24 gram. Okay, so today's video we have discussed main two properties, two discoveries, discovery of electron, discovery of proton, cathode ray and anode ray experiments. Please note down.